Welcome to Fun in Key West, where every day feels like a mini fest. Grab a drink, take it slow. We'll show you where the locals go. Food, fun, and stories to tell. Hidden gems you know so well. Your Key West experts here to say it's fun in Key West every day.
Welcome to another episode of Wandering Wednesday. I am so glad that you are here. And today we are exploring all around Key Largo. What can you do? Where can you be? What are you going to see? And should you plan a few days there? Should it just be a stop? Should it be something else? I don't know. We're just going to figure it out. Mr. Coffee and I are here, and we are so glad that you are too. And I'm sure Mr. Coffee is going to make an appearance here pretty soon. He's wandering around, but we'll see. But picture this. You are at the top of the Keys, and you see, if you've been through the top of the Keys, you see that painted barrier, and you know that you are on your way to the Keys and a whole bunch of fun, right? But there are a lot of things that you can do in the Upper Keys. You don't necessarily have to go all the way to Key West. And that's what we spend Wednesdays exploring, is we wander the Keys and give you some ideas of some places to explore. There's some nighttime fun. There's a lot of daytime adventures that you can get in the Upper Keys. And Key Largo is really a place for first timers. It's a place for day trippers. So if you are staying in South Florida, think Miami, think Fort Lauderdale, Key Largo is a really nice day trip to come and visit. And if you don't want to take a full Florida Keys trip or go all the way down to Key West, Key Largo will give you a good taste of what's going on. So Key Largo is your first stop in the Keys. And if you are here and are joining us, please let me know so that I can say hi. And so let's figure out some fun things that you can do in Key Largo. So why start in Key Largo? Well, of course, you're going to start in Key Largo because that's your first stop as you come into the Keys, right? It's the northernmost island in the Florida Keys, and it's the first one as you're coming south. So it's going to be what you're going to see. You're about 60-ish, 90 minutes from Miami International Airport. Of course, that's always contingent on traffic. And Key Largo has easy access to South Florida, think Miami, think Fort Lauderdale, think a lot of those places. And it's a great place for a day trip. It's a great place to do just a weekend escape. And it's a softer landing and a new experience to the Florida Keys versus going all the way down and doing a full adventure in the Keys or going all the way down to Key West. But you get a great mix of nature and exploring in the water and activities that you can do throughout on the sand, on the water, on all kinds of things that you can explore and do. And so it also gives you an opportunity to have a little bit more of a chill nightlife. You can do all kinds of wonderful things and explore the nightlife around the Keys and the Upper Keys. And it's not as immersive or involved as Key West, but you certainly can have some exciting times and explore live music and have some great food. So during the day, what can you possibly explore in Key Largo? Well, of course, you're going to want to explore, especially if water and those places are your thing, is the John Pennekamp Coral Reef State Park. Now, this is the first undersea park in the United States, and it is part of the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary. Here, you're going to have coral reefs, you're going to have the tropical fish, you're going to have the sea turtles, you're going to see parrotfish, of course, and it's got these vibrant, clear waters that you can explore. You can go snorkeling. If you don't know where to go and you're thinking, where could I visit and what should I see? think about exploring a snorkel tour. And that's a great thing for first-time snorkelers, especially. They're going to give you tips, usually provide you gear, and you'll be able to just get that full immersive experience in snorkeling. Don't want to get in the water? I get it. Trust me, I get it. That is not something that I particularly do well. I'm not a great swimmer. So it's something that I'm a little leery about, but I'll go in. But if you don't want to get wet and you don't want to go underwater, explore a glass bottom boat tour. You get to see what's under the water. You get to see the coral reefs without actually being in the water. So that's a neat way to explore it. Don't want to go out on the water at all? That's okay. There's some great beaches around there. They're not Miami Beach. They're not Fort Lauderdale. They're not expansive. When you start getting into the Keys, these are smaller pocket beaches. You're not going to have the waves. You're not going to have all of that action. But it's spot of land. It's a sandy piece of land that you can plop down on, enjoy some sand, and see the water and just have that full immersive experience. Again, I'm like I always say, make sure you're wearing reef safe sunscreen. We want to protect the ecosystem and we want to protect the waters around the Florida Keys. And make sure you hydrate. It can get warm. It'll sneak up on you if you don't hydrate. So make sure you're hydrating yourself. If you are planning to do some adventures out on the water, snorkeling, glass bottom boat, if you're heading into peak season, make sure you make some reservations ahead of time. The last thing I want you to do is to show up and you can't get done what you want to do because they're booked or sold out. So make sure you do that. And if you only have time for one activity and you really, really want to explore the waters around Key Largo, make sure you go snorkeling. I think that's one of the main things that you should check out. If you want to explore the nature around Key Largo and the Upper Keys, there are a ton of places that you can go walking and hiking. You're not hiking up anything high, but you can go hiking and enjoy all of that. And you can check out the Dagny Johnson Key Largo Hammock Botanical State Park. It's a lot, isn't it? Basically, this is a state park that has 84 protected species of plants and animals, and they're dependent on the ecosystem around this hammock. And the hammock is an ecosystem of trees and how all those are work together. This is a great tropical oasis, and if you've not experienced a walk around something like this, put it on your list. Make sure you check this out. And you actually have some hardwood trees in the state park and nature trails that you can walk through. And it's an interesting and rare glimpse into this habitat. If you're staying nearby, this is a great place that you could go check out and go for your nice morning walk and get that taste of nature. There may be a fee to get in the state parks. Be sure to check that ahead of time. If you are into birding, full confession here, my husband Kevin is a birder. And so when we are in Florida, we do a lot of these birding trails and go explore the birds and as they migrate. And if you are a birder, there is a place here in Key Largo that you need to check out. And that is the Florida Keys Wild Bird Center, more specifically, the Laura Quinn Wild Bird Sanctuary. And this is a place that you can walk through, and they have a boardwalk and it takes you through the mangroves. And rescued birds that are not able to be released back into the wild are here and they're protected. And you're going to see, I think there's about 30 species of birds. There's about 40 birds there, but they're protected. And this is something if you're a photographer or you just want to experience the world around that, be sure to check that out. If you also want to explore something, go check out the Wild Bird Hospital. And they've got, I think, 4 different areas in the hospital. They take rescued birds and bring them back to health so that they can be released. If they can't be released, then they're going to be going into the sanctuary. Another place that you can go explore, just kind of walk around. There's not a whole lot of place to roam, but you can go to Crocodile Lake National Wildlife Refuge. And you're not going to wander around too far here, but there are some trails and there is a butterfly garden that you can explore and a visitor center. So if you want to do a little bit of walking around and explore the habitats, be sure to check that out. If you like the beaches, again, they're not going to be Miami Beach. They're not going to be South Beach or anything like that, but they're a lot of fun. And they give you a taste of the Keys life and what it's like to be on the water in the Keys. So you do have several beaches that you can go explore. You have the Pennekamp beaches, like I mentioned. You also have Harry Harris Park. It's a sandy beach. They have a tidal pool there. A great picnic area if you're traveling with kids. It's a great place to go for a family day trip. And this is if you head out to the beach and you're looking at exploring places around there and go for a walk. This is a great way to spend. I think I accomplished something, but I didn't really have to do too much kind of day. Have a picnic, go enjoy that. Of course, if you're going to be in the Florida Keys, you're going to want to probably explore the waters and get out on the water. There's all kinds of boat tours you can do. You can go snorkeling. They have eco, and Mr. Coffee just jumped up here and is saying hello. You can go out on an eco boat tour. Something that's really cool is the African Queen is in Key Largo. And during the day, you can walk around and see the African Queen and get that whole experience. So if you've seen the movie, it's Humphrey Bogart, Katharine Hepburn, and you can explore what it looked like. It's been fully restored. But you can also book a trip to go out on the African Queen around the waters and do a sunset cruise. And that is actually a lot of fun. Of course, if you are into scuba diving, there is no better place to go scuba diving than around Key Largo. Key Largo is the self-proclaimed dive capital of the world. And they've got the reef dives. You've got artificial reefs that they make out of wrecks and wreckage that they put in the waters that create these wonderful artificial reefs that you can go scuba diving near. And they have shallow reefs, shallow places to go. And also you have deeper ones. And of course, you can rent a kayak and go out and explore the waters via kayak or paddle boarding or jet skiing. But remember, if you're out on the water, you're going to be reminded to do this. Respect the wildlife, respect the waters around there, follow your guide's instructions, and make sure that you're cognizant of what's below you so that you don't disrupt the ecosystem too much. So you've spent the day in Key Largo exploring all of the upper keys. Now it's getting to be nighttime. What are you going to do in Key Largo at night? This gets to be the crux to the difference between the Upper Keys and Key West. Key West is all about nightlife. It's all about exploring how late you can be out and all the live music and Duval Street and all of that. Whereas the rest of the Keys has more of this backcountry vibe. And there is a nightlife, there is live music, there are places to go, but it's not Duval Street. And so be aware that's what you're going to get into. But it is such a fun experience and something totally different than you're going to have in Key West. You have, when you go down on the Keys and you're booking a hotel room, and we do this a lot with our clients with Out of Here Travel. Are you a sunset person or are you a sunrise person? Because that's really going to depend on which side of the road we're going to have you on, but also what kind of experience you're going to have. I like to book people and put people in the bay side because that's going to be the west side. And that's where you're going to have those amazing, fabulous sunsets. And that's what people come to the Florida Keys for, are the sunsets. If sunrise is your thing, then you're going to be over on the ocean side. The bay side is going to be a little bit calmer water, a little more shallow, and it's going to have a different vibe than the ocean side. It's going to be a little deeper and all of that. A lot of the resorts on the bay side have a dock. You can go sit out and have sunset. A lot of your restaurants are going to be on the bay side because they offer a sunset view. It's just what kind of vibe are you looking for? So that adds a lot to where you're going to be. When we have stayed in Island Murata, we were able to stay because it's narrow enough that we were on the bay side. So we had a beautiful sunset view, but then we could cross over and it was a short walk to the other side to see sunrise in the morning. So we got the best of both worlds. If you are looking at taking out a sunset cruise, you can do that in the Upper Keys as well. Just decide what kind of sunset sail are you interested in. Just like in Key West, you've got the catamarans, you have small ecos that are focused more on small, experiential, more eco-based experiences. You also have the floating tiki bars, which are bring your own booze events, but they're just like in Key West. They're also up in the Upper Keys in Key Largo, and they're a lot of fun. I think they're about a six-person max, but you can bring your own drinks and have fun and just float in a tiki bar on the water and experience sunset. I'm telling you, amazing. And so if you do a sunset, be sure to tag us to say, hey, look what we did at FunInKeyWest. Tag us and say, hey, here's our picture of sunset and we loved it. Of course, you're going to want to go someplace for happy hour or in place for dinner. And so you have sundowners. They're on the bay side, and they are known for their absolute wonderful view of sunset. They have seafood. They have a great happy hour. You're going to want to get there early to get a seat for sunset, but you can also book online to get a reservation to make sure that you are close enough there to make sure that you can get that seat. You also have the Caribbean Club. This is an interesting place. It opened in 1938, and it's one of the oldest bars in the Upper Keys. So if you're into history and you want to check that out, check out the Caribbean Club. It's old school Keys bar. They have movie history. They have live music. It's just like a locals vibe place. You just have to check that place out. Other places to check out would be Mile Marker 88. You've got the Fish House, Mrs. Mack's Kitchen. Great places. Everybody talks about them. Be sure to check those places out. While exploring the Florida Keys, especially the Upper Keys, you're going to have your choice of fresh fish. It's going to be everywhere. It's going to be abundant. If you go out fishing, most of the restaurants in the Key Largo area or the Keys in general will cook what you bring. And so make sure if you do go fishing, take that fish with you and have it cooked the way you like it. You're going to have some wonderful options to choose from. Mahi Mahi is usually one of the most popular. Of course, key lime pie is going to be a staple. That's not an optional thing. If you follow me enough, you know that key lime pie is a mandatory thing. You have to have key lime pie. And of course, they do happy hours. Just like in Key West, there are happy hours. Be sure to check them out. You're going to have live music and nightlife, and the vibe isn't going to be like we're going to stay up until 2 a.m. and party. It's more chill, tiki bar, flip-flops. We're going to sit here and just enjoy sunset and then get up early and start the day over again. Keep in mind, Key West is more about that late night vibe, Duval Street, and you've got all those festivals up and down Key West. But you do have some bars to check out with live music. You have tiki bars at most of the resorts and at the marinas. And occasionally, some of these places will bring in food trucks and some outdoor events. So be sure to check our calendar of events. I try to post a lot of the events that are occurring in Key Largo and the Upper Keys there. So where are you going to stay when you go to Key Largo and the Upper Keys? Again, like I said, when we work with a lot of our clients through our travel agency, we try to figure out what kind of vibe are you looking for and try to match that. Here are some ideas if you're exploring Key Largo. Of course, you have the bungalows. The bungalows of Key Largo, this is an adult-only resort. It's all exclusive. It comes with your drinks and a great view. You have the waters. This is a great place if you don't want to think about where your next drink is coming and you love all-inclusive resorts. This is the only one in the Keys, but it's a fabulous experience if that's what you're looking for. You also have Playa Largo Resort, which is another full-service resort. They have the pools, they have the bars, they have water activities, they have a spa. It's a little larger. It's not an intimate experience. It is, but it isn't. It's more on the larger side. If you're looking for more of that intimate resort feel without being all-inclusive, you do have the Kona Kai Resort, and that is a lot like a botanical garden feel. You have a lot of art. It's smaller in scale, and they offer a lot of amenities there. We have stayed at Gilbert's Resort. This is Party Central if you're looking for it in Key Largo. It does have the party vibes. It has live music. It has a tiki bar. You're surrounded by the water. We were able to get a room that had access to the dock to sit out. We just grabbed our cocktails and sat out there and just watched the water. It was an amazing experience, something totally different than we get in Key West. But Gilbert's, if you want a little bit of a party vibe, but then also want to have that water view and that quiet resort feel, Gilbert's will probably do you well. So, best time to visit Key Largo. Is there really a bad time to visit the Keys? I really don't think there is. Visiting the Keys is fabulous all year round. But late winter to spring, so roughly February through May, is really good because you're going to be off season. It's before hurricane season, but that's usually a really good time to come. Hurricane season, remember, is June through November. We're just about done with it. And this is November of 2025, and we are at November 19th. And I just read something the other day that this is the first time in 10 years that there will not have been a hurricane that has hit the United States or had a direct hit or entered the waters around the United States. And so this was probably a really good year, but you can't bank on another year like this. That's why I always talk about, if you are coming to anywhere, especially Florida, during hurricane season and you're traveling, get that travel insurance. We always make sure our clients have travel insurance because you just never know. And travel insurance covers so many things that you either thought of or didn't think of, or just stuff happens and you want to make sure you're covered on that. So, how do you get to Key Largo? Well, you can fly into Miami or Fort Lauderdale. You can rent a car and drive the overseas highway and do that experience. You're going to watch the mile markers as you head into the upper Keys. You can fly into Key West and then drive up. That's a little bit longer trip and a totally different vibe. But coming in from Miami, Fort Lauderdale area, South Florida, that's an easy trip into Key Largo. How long you stay is dependent upon you and the experience that you want. 2-3 days, if that's what you're experiencing. If you want to do diving and snorkeling and some fishing and explore the mid to upper Keys, plan a couple nights. Or make it part of a longer trip as you explore all of the Keys. So you can do Key Largo, and then you can do Isla Morada. You could do the Everglades National Park, or even put in Key West. However you want to, I know those aren't in order geographically, but however you want that experience to be, plan at least a night someplace so that you can experience the morning and the evening and all of the activities that are surrounding that area. So Key Largo gives you reefs and mangroves and birds and little beachy pockets, cocktails, sunsets, and some really good times without rushing around. You don't have all the hustle bustle of Duval Street, although I wouldn't say it's too hustle bustle, but you know where I'm going with that. So whether it's your first time in the Keys or you've been to the Keys a dozen times, Key Largo can absolutely surprise you and give you an experience that you probably were never expecting. So if you want more information, I am going to put in our show notes below a link to all of the things I talked about and how to explore Key Largo. And you can actually get more information, like best places for breakfast and best places to go snorkeling in Isla Morada, and a lot of other wonderful things that we talk about in Exploring the Keys can be found over at, you guessed it, FunInKeyWest.com. And we have a whole section there about the Keys. So be sure to check that out. Also, while you're there, sign up for our happy hour list. You're going to get a list of our favorite happy hours, but you're also, that puts you on our newsletter list so that you can be in the know of everything happening with Fun in Key West and what's happening in Key West. Every week we send out a newsletter that has a trivia question. And if you answer that trivia question correct, you get to be in the drawing for a monthly box, and it's a Key West surprise box. You can also, while you're over at FunInKeyWest.com, sign up for our book club. And every month we explore a book that has some sort of Key West connection or Florida Keys. I am Michelle with Fun in Key West. I am so glad that you stopped by and learned all about me rambling on about Key Largo. and what an awesome place it is to explore. If you've been to Key Largo or have a favorite restaurant I didn't mention, or a place that you love to stay, you let me know. Put it down in the comments below or send me a DM and say, hey, Michelle, be sure to check this out. Put this on your list. I am always looking for those recommendations so that I can pass them on to everybody else. You guys have a great Wednesday. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate everybody who stops by and says, hey, and I appreciate every one of you who are part of our community. You guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.